Welcome, folks, to Prophecy Talk, where you come for real Bible prophecy news and analysis. As you know, I am taking a break because I have many other things going on right now. But today I had a video interview for one of my books, and something has just happened that is so major and so shocking that since I already did a video interview and am already set up, I'm now on here about to give you the news, which I actually did a community update and gave you a brief look into, or gave a highlight of. So there's two things that are going on. First of all, what has happened is that the United States is no longer first. The United States is no longer writing the rules for the world. That seismic shift just took place. The second thing that is happening is that in the evangelical community, there is a good deal of division. There is a good deal of deception of those who got pulled in to QAnon and other false teachings, and also have made Donald Trump a golden calf. But what has just happened is a result of Donald Trump's 4-year presidency, in which the United States has been completely wrecked, and the U.S. decline went full force. So let me tell you what happened. And also, it's being reported that Biden is Obama 3, and that you can expect globalism and all this stuff. What I'm going to show you today and reveal to you today is going to show you how you've got to stay clear of Fox and these fake news sites and Breitbart. Stay clear. You are not getting real news. Okay, here goes. Everybody has this view, again, that Biden is Obama 3. So let me tell you what happened the night before Biden was inaugurated. That should be very concerning to all Americans because of what this is going to mean. The night before Biden was inaugurated, there was a brief written about, or a brief that was published on Euractiv, a leading European Union website that is also an EU policy website. And it was called a Declaration of Self-Reliance. And one of the things stated in the brief, and I'll have the links below, is that the U.S. is viewed as an unreliable ally because Trump was viewed as being very unreliable. And even though Biden is now president, it is still viewed as unreliable because if Trump could happen once, a Donald Trump can happen again. So the EU is now self-reliant, no longer relying on the United States and making its own rules and not joining with the U.S. But now that Biden is president, he will opt back in, and there will be an agreement with Biden in Europe. But it's a very different playing field. This is not the same world as at the time of Obama. So let me tell you the next thing that was called for. That is just absolutely shocking on the eve of Joe Biden's inauguration. And it was a call for the European Union's currency, the euro, to basically be the global reserve. And not only did they call for it, but they actually have a set of proposals of what they are going to do to see to it that that happens. So it's stated in Euractiv that on the eve of Joe Biden's inauguration as U.S. president, the European Commission will launch a new offensive to promote the use of the EU's single currency on a global level, aiming to address the vulnerabilities of financial markets which are seen as too reliant on the US dollar. And this article goes on to state that this started as a response to US sanction policy on Iran, which had been initiated by Trump or by Donald Trump. So what this means is if you take all the other things that have been affecting the US dollar, and I showed on this channel a recommendation by the European Union about 2 years ago to begin doing their energy transactions in euros and no longer dollars. And you have Russia no longer using US dollars. And you also, in energy transactions and trying to get away, or you have Russia moving away, from dollars being used in energy transactions, as well as Iran and other nations. The dollar has already been whittled away. Now you have the European Union, and this is a very scary fact that I'm going to relay to you next, and this was not in mainstream media, this was in, again, a European policy website, a blog post by a European notable who works in relation with the European Central Bank. And he stated that many of the central banks are now using euros versus dollars. So what the European Union is now doing is they're on a roll and they're now going with it. And it's now just a matter of time. And I will, as I always do, follow these developments closely, because at this point, the dollar is on a countdown. So I would urge each of you to prepare for the collapse of the dollar. But what really has also happened is that when Biden steps into those world institutions to sit down with the Europeans, it's not the US taking the lead, it's now Europe taking the lead. I want to give a shout out. I have a Romanian national who has tuned in, and he actually commented, I'm proud to be European, go Europe, the #1 superpower. This is also interesting that a European would now come on to the channel, listen in, and state this. So this means, in part, a part of what I'm showing you, and there's much more that I've been reporting on this channel. What this means is, again, the US is no longer first. It has happened. So while you have the evangelicals, Christians, who are still looking at the Democrat-Republican war and who are embroiled in the false teachings of QAnon, are they going to be in for a rude awakening when they experience what this is now going to mean for the United States? So I wanted to report this because this is major. It's Europe now asserting its strength, and it's also giving a picture, because there is misinformation in the US media about this, the America and this nation and this Obama 3, and we're writing the rules and we're calling the shots, and now it's going to go liberal and Democrat. Forget it. Get away from that. You're missing real news, real prophecy news as it is happening. And also, you're beginning to see even the right-wing extremists, such as the Proud Boys, who had been big supporters of Trump and QAnon, now coming out and cursing him because he did not start the civil war that they anticipated and fueled the fires of. Meanwhile, I had a Christian woman share a QAnon video that was so frightening. It was basically to initiate civil war. And when I told her this was a false teaching, she would not hear of it because Donald Trump is pro-life. Well, guess what? He told you he is pro-life. It doesn't mean he's really pro-life. And as I stated, thank God we have Joe Biden, who is a foreign policy whiz. That was why Obama invited him to be vice president, because of his strength in foreign policy, because we are no longer number one. And if Trump had gotten in, we would be crashing. We're already going to head, when the dollar officially tanks, we're going to be like Japan. In the United States, it's going to be like 1929. It's going to be like the Great Depression, so you better prepare. We are not going to have the standard of living. And who knows, the U.S. may even adopt the euro. Think of that for the mark of the beast. But it's not coming because of a new world order. And it's not coming because of this global system. It's coming because the empire is going to be so strong, and the empire is going to make it so that other empires in the lineup, we see several in the end time lineup, have no choice. And that's how it's coming about. So I wanted to do this since I already had an interview today, since I already had everything set up. I wanted to come out and state this. Sadly, this video won't get many eyes, won't get much footage, won't get many eyes, but that's for the audience that does tune in. That's what's happened. This is really big. And from this point forward, I'm going to investigate further to see exactly the steps. I've already seen what some of the steps are for the euro to be the world's reserve, and when they anticipate completing those. Meanwhile, I do expect that we will see COVID subside under Biden, that at least that plague will be removed. And hopefully, many's eyes will be opened to the truth, those who have bought into the deception. And that's all that I can hope for, that will happen as we now get closer. But I want to say it again, it has happened. The U.S. has officially declined. We are no longer number one. And the best that Biden can do is try to help us gain ground that was lost, because the anti-globalists thought that they were fighting God's cause by backing Trump to back out of these institutions, when really globalism is what helps economic prosperity, economic growth. Those other empires have now gone ahead economically, ahead of the U.S. And you're already a part of globalism through your smartphone, through your internet. And if you think about it, the smartphone is adopted in one country, it's then adopted in the next, and the next thing you know, everybody around the globe has smartphones. That's how the mark of the beast in part will be coming about. So I just wanted to highlight this, because while so many evangelicals were supporting that, what you basically did was helped move prophecy forward at a faster pace. Well, this has been Erika Grey. Meanwhile, check out my books. I just did something very exciting relating to one of the books. Anyway, it's something I will chat about on my Facebook page. So be sure to fan my Facebook page. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter. And meanwhile, check out my books, subscribe to this channel, and God bless.